because it's easier to go over, get up on the YouTube this way, and I'm going to go over the golds for what I think their values are worth and stuff for arena mode for when you're drafting. Um, I was an infinite arena player in Hearthstone. Usually came in first or second on Kingdoms draft mode, and I was pretty decent at Eternals, so I should be able to judge these. We're not going over the leaders because I'm not sure if they're going to just lower actual leaders too. So Ragnarug, there's a lot of, since you're drafting from every class, there's a lot of bronzes and plus the mages that your opponent could. This is a high risk, high reward card for sure. Because if you pulled off and they didn't draft any weathers or any weather clears or anything, this card will be pretty good. But then if they did, then you're just going to lose, and probably the higher tier decks when you get up to the higher players are going to have weather clear and stuff to deal with it. Also, my overall tier list for everything should be down in the description by the end of the night, so I'll make a list for these if you don't want to watch the whole thing. Then we got Renew, Resurrect Gold Unit. This depends on how many golds you draft. It'll be alright. If you draft a really good, if you draft a really good gold before you get the choice for Renew, then pick it up, but don't pick it up until then. It'll most likely be a dead card. You can't draft a card counting to get another card. And we got Assassination, deal 8 damage twice. This card will actually be pretty solid in draft mode. Doing 8 damage twice will take care of most of your opponent's engines that they draft, and plus it's 16 damage on a silver, so I mean on a gold. You gotta just count them in numbers for the most part if you're going over draft. Then Drought is the same as Ragnarug. Uma's Curse, this one, it's not too bad, it's not too great. It's basically letting you, every game you're redrafting your gold pick, so if you don't have a better choice, then yeah, go with Uma's Curse, but overall it's just alright. Trial of the Grasses. Trial of the Grasses deal 10 damage to unit unless it's a Witcher. Survives boosted to 25 power. Very few cases you're going to want to draft this. It's mostly going to be a 10 damage ping, unless you actually draft like Geralt and maybe Vesmir or something. But in most cases this is going to be a dead one. Blue Dream, they did say we're getting a lot of golds in the draft mode. Like draft mode is going to be I have a lot of golds in it, so Blue Dream's probably going to be halfway good. Granted, they have to play their gold first, but you're probably going to be dropping golds round 1. Royal Decree, play a gold unit from your deck and boost it by 2. It's a filtering card. It's pretty good. You need to draft a few gold units before you want to run this, though. And it's alright. Muzzle, charm a bronze or silver enemy with 8 power or less. 16 power bronze if they play something 8 power. It's not as good as Assassination, but it's still alright. Especially if they have an engine, but not every deck's going to have engines that you're facing. And we got Wolfsbane. After 3 turns in the graveyard, deal 6 damage to the highest enemy and boost the lowest ally by 6. Gonna be very, very hard to pull this off. Unless you draft like 2 Savan Ridges or a couple discarding cards. You need to have those first before you pick this up, because this thing's just going to be a dead card in your hand. 12 power gold. You're going to be able to find something better. Unless you already got the discarding stuff, then this card's just straight tempo and pretty good. Then we got Shoop's Bizarre Adventure. If your deck has no duplicates, then Shoop on Adventure. This is a risky card to draft, especially early. Like if you're 15 cards in and you see a Shoop's Bizarre Adventure and you still don't have any duplicates, then yeah, I'd pick them up. But if you draft them too early, you could run into the thing where you're forced to draft 2 of the same card, and then this is just a dead card in your deck. And also it's going to limit you from drafting multiples of really good cards, since you might be able to draft multiples of the same golds. So yeah, I wouldn't pick this up unless you're like 15, 16, maybe even 7. Shahil, this card will be great. Deal 3 damage to all enemies with odd power, or deal 3 damage to all enemies with even power, or play a random bronze or silver unit from your deck. This thing, just because it filters you out of bronze or silver, will be actually pretty good. And the 3 damage, if it's an extended round, will actually matter a lot. It's not the greatest card, but it's alright. Like, Assassination so far is definitely the best card to draft. Regis, drain all boost from a unit. Really risky to play. You pretty much need your opponent's units to be boosted, but things like Mach, Amail, and stuff will be really good in draft mode, so depending on how much we see those amazed how dependent this guy's going to be. Philippa, deal 5 damage to an enemy, then deal 4, 3, 2, and 1 damage to random enemies. Solid, definitely good. Tier probably up there with Assassination for value in Arena. Just because she does the same thing and she can ping things off, though it's more random on what she's going to ping. She's just straight 16 power. Gales, look at gold and silver card from your deck, then play one, move the other to the top of the deck. He's going to be great in draft mode. I mean, he's a filtering card, and you should have some golds and silvers, so yeah, getting any deck thinning you can get in draft mode will be really good. Combi, no, he's the worst. Do not draft this thing. Letho, lock 2 units on a row, then drain all their power. Spying, he can be pretty decent if you already picked up a Scorch or an Igni or even Regis in draft mode, because they're gonna be pure power numbers are gonna be like the best things. So Letho, locking 2 units and igniting it can net you some value. Then we got Carher, resurrect the leader. It's gonna be amazing. Carher's great to draft. Will be great to draft most likely, because you just get to replay your leader, which I'm thinking we're only going to be able to use RNG leaders. Then we got Brew's Ritual. Resurrect 2 Bronze Death Wish units. If you got some Death Wish units, then alright, but Death Wish units are really crappy on their own, so you shouldn't be drafting them in the first place unless you got stuck with them. So Brew's Ritual you're probably not going to be picking up unless somehow you got stuck with a bunch of Death Wish units. Nova, definitely not. You're not going to be able to draft a deck with Nova in mind. Avalok the Sage, he's going to go up to a 3, and you get a random gold or silver unit from your opponent's starting deck. He's going to be better and better the higher up you go, because they're going to have better and better golds and silvers, so he's going to be pretty good. He's going to be harder to use in the early stages, but once you get up to like 5 wins, he's probably going to be really good. Then Ithelin, play bronze or silver boon or hazard from your deck twice. Yeah, she's going to be alright. Not the best, and you have to draft a boon or hazard spell from your deck before you grab her. Agora, true form, will actually be really good, because you can get a Scorch, you can get a Maelstrom, Last Wish. There's like tons of good things this guy can grab you. Ivarith with the change is not going to be the greatest. Too easy to play around in Ivarith. Of course, at least when you get to the later stages, you're going to have people who are probably going to play around in Ivarith and an Igni. So I probably wouldn't draft him. He might get you through the early stages easy. Then we got Isengrim, who's going to be OP because, yeah, Isengrim's already amazing. You got like 3 tech cards in there to choose from that he can create you. Isengrim will be really good. Then we got Vernon Roach, deal 7 damage at the start of the game, add a Blue Stripes Commando to your deck. He's crappy. He's 10 power, and you get a Blue Stripes Commando, which you're going to need a 3 power to draft out. And even if you do bring it out, he's a 13 power gold. Not that great. Priscilla will actually be pretty good. Boost 5 random allies by 3. That's 18 power gold right there. She's really good for draft mode. I would pick her up. Dijkstra, play 2 random cards from your deck. Spying, he seems like he'd be good in draft mode, but no, I don't think he will be. Because your deck, if you play the wrong card at the wrong time, and with how you're going to get random cards in your deck, he's probably going to screw you over more than he's going to help you. Caretaker, going to be top tier. This is probably going to be the best gold you can draft. Resurrect a bronze or silver unit from your opponent's graveyard. Yeah. This thing's going to be amazing. And just because you can use your opponent's cards with your own, and they might have something that interacts with some of the random cards that you got, really is going to be great. Probably next to Shani, him and Shani are probably going to be the top 2 cards to draft. Then we got Succubus. After 2 turns, charm the highest enemy on the opposite row. You're going to have to play around cards when you play her that you didn't before, like the one that does 6 damage to the units on the end of the row and stuff, because somebody might have got stuck with that. So if you do that, you might actually be able to pull off a Succubus. Not guaranteed. Definitely high risk, high reward card. If you save her for the last 2 cards, though, most of the removal will probably be gone. So there's that. Skuru, Spawn Scorcher, Epidemic. I don't think I'm gonna like this guy. I can't say if this guy's gonna be good or bad. Just, yeah, you get a Scorch, but with the draft mode, you could easily end up with the highest unit on the field. And then Scorch is gonna suck. And Epidemic's not the greatest, so I wouldn't pick him up. Him, play a bronze or silver cursed unit from your deck. Since we're not class limited here, there is a lot of cursed units. You're most likely gonna see a cursed unit in the draft, which will make him really good. And then create a silver unit from your opponent's deck. Even if you don't get a cursed unit, you can still create one of the silver units from your opponent's deck. That'll be really good. Weaves is gonna suck. You can't build a deck around Reltics in draft. Chiron, choose one, create a bronze or silver alchemy card, or play a bronze or silver item from your deck. If you crafted some items, I'd definitely pick him up, but I mean, just his first effect is pretty decent. Not the greatest, but he's alright. Draw Igni, definitely really good. Destroy the highest units on an enemy row if that row has 25 or more power. I'm pretty sure rows are going to have 25 or more power in draft mode. There's no way, there is a way that you can build a deck so that way it doesn't, but in most cases draw will net you value like he always does. Shani, top tier. Resurrect a non-cursed bronze or silver unit and give it 2 armor. It doesn't have to be Tamarian or anything, so you can resurrect a monster or something with this. Definitely really good. Then we got Woodland Spirit, spawn 3 wolves on the melee row and apply fog to the opposite row. Pretty sure all the weather cards are going to be pretty good in the earlier stages and then really crappy later. Because top tier draft decks are gonna have mages and stuff to deal with weather, and then you're just gonna lose out. So I wouldn't pick them up. Coral, transform a bronze or silver unit into a jade figurine. This is really dependent on how often people are drafting boosting cards, though people in the top tiers will probably have mock males and stuff, because you need to hit at least something with 12, 13 power for her to be really good. And I mean, yeah, you can, like, if they get an Iris or something, then yeah, you can coral that. So she'll probably be pretty good. She's in the same spot as Igni. It's situational. Ranfran, play bronze or silver spying unit from your deck. If you draft a Joe M. DeWitt, this guy will be great. Pretty much any spy, he will be pretty good because he filters you out a card, and that's so important. And I mean, I don't know how disloyals are going to work. I would not draft more than one disloyal unit because you could end up screwing yourself. But I mean, if you do get that one disloyal unit, then you got Ranfarn as a choice. Definitely pick him up. Agura, choose 2, boost the lowest ally by 5, boost a random unit in your hand by 5, deal 5 damage to the highest enemy, or charm a random enemy elf with 5 power or less. This card's gonna suck. I mean, it's gonna be alright. If you have nothing better to choose, go with Agura, because it's alright, but it's not that great. It's 15 power in most cases. Then we got Ufaldin. Deal 1 damage to all enemies. If the enemies were damaged, deal 2 damage instead. Couldn't be hard to set up a deck for him, but granted, if they have 11 units out on the field, he just nets you 16 anyway. But there could be armor and stuff, so yeah. He's pretty much the same as Agura. Not that great. Phoenix, resurrect a bronze or silver Draconoid. If you draft a Draconoid, a decent one, then yeah, Phoenix is going to be great, like Mirk Tabracta or something. Because you shouldn't be drafting Grand Warriors or Forktails in draft mode, unless you're forced to. So Phoenix will be alright if you already have the Draconoids. Spawn the last bronze or silver spell you played. Again, same as Phoenix. If you have some decent spells or a really good silver spell, then yeah. But besides that, no. She'll probably be a dead card in most cases. Letho Kingslayer. Destroy an enemy leader, then boost health by 5, or play a bronze or silver tactic card from your deck. If you even have like 2 tactic cards, this guy will be great. Just because he can kill your opponent's leader, which will net you a decent amount of value in most cases. Because I'm really curious about how Lucifer is going to work in draft. Then we got Siri. Whenever you lose a round, return this unit to your hand. 2 armor. Ha! Good luck. Good luck letting her live a whole round with all the removal in the game. Somebody's gonna draft, and plus you have to use her like round 1 unless you win round 1, then you can use her round 2. so they're probably going to have all the removal in their hand. She's going to die. Regis Higher Vampire, not the greatest. It depends. I mean, you can sort of kill off one bronze unit from their deck, but that's not going to be the biggest deal. And you need to eat something 10 or higher power. He's alright. Yennefer, only if you have a lot of swarming. Somehow if you drafted like a ton of swarming, slave drivers, priest of Freyas, a bunch of stuff like that that just spawns multiple units, and you can go with Yennefer, and she'd actually net you a lot. Because in draft mode they're most likely going to have like singularity units, and maybe a couple double spawners, but if you draft a crap ton of them and you get Yennefer as a choice, go with her. Geralt Ard, deal 3 damage to 3 enemies, move them to the row above. 15 power gold. Not the greatest, but it's alright. Because there is some cases where you can get totally screwed for draft mode. If you, with your 3 golds, play a bronze or silver tactic card from your deck. If you have a tactic card, pretty good. He filters it out. Any deck thinning you can pick up, you're gonna want. Kira Metz, spawn Elzur's Thunder, Thunderbolt, or Arrakis Venom. She's gonna be really good. Because I mean, Arrakis Venom makes her 18. And 18 power gold. That's a lot of points. And then you got the backup Thunderbolt if you really need to knock something off. Karen, consume a unit with 6 power or less and boost self by its power. Not going to be that great. This is only really good in consume archetype, which good luck run drafting a whole consume deck. Gantro Dim, only if you have no other choice. Like if you have to pick Ciri Nova, Shoop's Adventure, this guy, when you already have duplicates, then go with Gaunter, I guess. But he can be rewarding, but he's such high risk. Milva, return each player's highest bronze or silver unit to their deck. It depends on how your draft deck's shaping out. If you got a bunch of lower units, then yeah, but if you got anything that's like decent, if you got a high unit that has a really good ability that you like, then Milva would be decent, but in most cases, you're not going to do much with her. Bernabron, apply Skellige Storm to the enemy row, another weather card. If they have any weather clear, you're going to lose out on so much value for drafting this. But, I mean, if they don't, yeah, you get a lot of value. But the higher tier decks are going to have weather clear, most likely. Madman Lugos, discard a bronze unit from your deck, then deal damage equal to its base power to an enemy. You need to have at least a 10 power to discard that you don't want in your deck. So he can be good for that. Like if you were forced to draft something that you don't even want to play that well, then he can net you some decent value. Series, there's another dead card. There's a bunch of dead cards. You have a pretty good chance of being screwed with picking one of 3 golds. Wispus Tribute, play a bronze or silver organic card from your deck. If you pick up an organic card, sure. Especially if you pick up a Mandrake. If you pick up a Mandrake and you get a Wispus, that'll be crazy. Along with Vesmir. Play a bronze or silver alchemy card from your deck. Reset all units on a row and remove their tokens. Geralt Yarden. He will probably be pretty good. Because, again, because of Macamales and carryover is going to be pretty good. Like, dwarfs might be good, the 6 power ones that have carryover, just things like that. So he might be alright. Isengrim, this guy will be amazing if you actually draft an ambush unit beforehand, but you have to have the ambush unit. Even a sapper would make him amazing. 18 power gold if you get a sapper, and if you get a Torval, then he's a 21 power gold, and that's crazy. Morin is risky. Ivarith deals 7 damage if you destroy the unit, boost all elves in your hand by 1. You gotta consider him 14 power gold, because you're probably not gonna draft that many elves, or you can't count on it. Or if you did draft a bunch of elves, you're probably already screwed because skeletal elves aren't the greatest. Then we got Bonhart, reveal one of your units and deal damage equal to its base power. If you have a 9, like a decent amount of 9 powers, or even 8 powers, I guess you could go with it. Or if you drafted a disloyal unit, he could be pretty strong. He's going to be alright. Eskel will be great, especially if you draft a disloyal unit, because you can just kill off the disloyal unit like a Menno. Celtric, dual enemy, 3 armor. He's going to have 8 power. This guy, ugh, he's still good. He's gonna be alright. If they play anything like 15 power, then you net some value. But if you're facing a deck that doesn't have anything that high, then you're gonna just lose out. Vandergrift, he'll actually be pretty good, I think. Deal 1 damage to all enemies. If the unit is destroyed, apply Ragnarok. You have to hit 9 units for this thing to net you 16. And at 16 he's good. If you ping off any ones, you get the bonus Ragnarok. Zoltan, Scoundrel. Didn't even know they changed this guy because he hasn't seen play that much. Spawn a companion that boosts 2 adjacent units by 2, or spawn an agitator that deals 2 damage to 2 adjacent units. So how much is that? 16? It's 2 to the left and 2 to the right, right? If it's 2 to the left and 2 to the right, he'll be pretty good because he'll be 18. If it's just 1 to the left and 1 to the right, then it's crap. Triss Butterfly spell boosts lowest allies by 1 on turn end. She's going to suck. You're going to have a deck that has a lot of low powers for her to even try to work, and then when she gets ping off by removal, you're going to be very sad. Carinther, move an enemy to the opposite row and apply frost to it. Again, weather. I mean, granted, if you draft a crap ton of weather, they won't have enough removal to deal with it, then you're going to start gaining value. But just getting a single weather card, not going to help you much. Havelock, Truce, each player draws 2 cards. He's like a neutral. He's an 8. Unless you have a weather deck, or some deck that benefits from going in a longer round, then I wouldn't draft him. Because if you have something like ships or something where the longer the round goes, the better they get, then yeah, he's worth it. If not, he's definitely not. Zoltan, choose 3 units, strengthen allies by 2 and move them to this unit row. Damage enemies by 2 and move them to the opposite row. 14 power gold, but he strengthens. So if you got some reviving support in your deck, like, well, not Priestess of Freya no more, but if you got some reviving support, he might be alright. Besides that, he's, Wild Boar of the Sea, same thing. You're not gaining anything. You're strengthening your unit to the one side to the other, and you're damaging it. So you're not even getting any value every turn. You're just making one unit big, which, unless you have like a Dijkstra and a Sigdrifa, that's not going to help you none. Menno, deal 4 damage to an enemy. If it's spying, destroy it. Only draft him if you draft a disloyal unit, because that's pretty much the only use he's going to have. You're not going to have a full force spy deck. Lambert, Swordmaster, deal 4 damage to all copies of an enemy unit. Definitely crap. They're probably not going to have multiple copies of the same unit. Best thing you can hope for is that they drafted 2 slave drivers and you can ping those off. Yennefer, Conjurer, deal 1 damage to all highest enemies on turn end. Again, crap card. You're too easily removed. Not going to net you much value. If they don't have removal, yeah, she's going to net you value, but you got to think about the later rounds because they're probably going to have removal. Bloody Baron, whenever an enemy is destroyed, boost self by 1 wherever it is. Not worth it. You have to have a high power removal deck for this to work to even be worth it. How many? You'd have to kill off 7 enemies and draw him for him to be worth it. I wouldn't risk it. Imlerith, deal 4 damage to an enemy. If the enemy is under frost, deal 8 damage instead. If you actually manage to draft like a full-on frost deck, like you took the risk with weather and you decided to draft all bunch of frost, sure. If not, he's pretty bad. A Glaze, resurrect a bronze or silver special card from your opponent's graveyard. This is risky. I mean, probably better in the later games because they're going to have special cards, most likely. Because most likely the decks in the top ranks are going to be good players and good decks, which means you're probably going to have things like Commander's Horn or Decoys, some marching orders, things that you can use to filter out other cards and stuff. So only then will she be useful. In the early game, she's probably going to be dead because they're probably not going to draft that many specials. I think she'll be really good in later games. Vilkforts, choose one, destroy an ally, then play a card from your deck, or Truce, destroy an enemy, then your opponent draws a revealed bronze card. Vilkforts will be really good. Especially if you draft a couple lower power units that he can just kill off to pull something else from your deck. Because that 9 power is a lot when you get to do that. Schiller, Truce, draw a card from both decks. Keep one, give the other to your opponent. This guy will be great. Because in draft mode, you both have so many random cards that you're going to be able to pick the best of the two. It's not like you have dedicated decks with like Dwarven Agitators and stuff where, oh, if I take that, it's going to be useless for me, and if I give it to my opponent, it's only going to help him. In a draft mode situation, he's going to be really good. Apply Golden Froth to the row, Whale of Ancestors. Risky, especially in the earlier games when you're probably going to see weather. Apply, is way too risky. I mean, yeah, if you have nothing better than Ancestors, if that's about it. Triss, deal 5 damage. Not too bad, not the greatest. 15 power gold. I never pronounce this guy's name right. Valentrentenmirth. After 3 turns, destroy the highest unit. 3 armor. Same thing as Scorch. Gonna be really risky to draft. Because they're going to need to play a higher unit than you for that to even work. So you're either going to have to build your deck around lower units if you draft something like this, or just run the risk of it being a totally dead card. Then we got Drog. Resurrect units as 1 power Drogs until you fill this unit's row. If you play him on an empty row, I guess he's a 19 power gold if you actually have enough units to do it with. Besides that, this next one's better. Deal 2 damage to up to 5 enemies on the opposite row. Definitely a lot better. 20 power gold if you hit 5 enemies. That's really good. Saskia, Destroyer. Boost self by 1 for each dwarf ally, then deal 1 damage for each elf ally. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. We already know dwarfs, and I'll be drafting them unless you have to, so no. Ermion, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. He will actually be pretty good, because you're most likely going to end up with like a dead card or 2 when you finish your draft deck, unless you got really lucky, and this guy will help you keep up your deck's consistency since you can get rid of those dead cards and maybe draw something better. Stefan Skellen, choose a card from your deck, boost it by 5 and move it to the top of your deck. Technically 15 power gold, but you sacrifice early tempo for later tempo, which is usually really good. Put anything on top of your deck sounds good to me. Tibber, boost self by 15, then your opponent draws a revealed bronze card. Not worth the risk, because if they do run a Scorch or an Igni, you're going to regret ever running this guy. Xavier Morin, boost this unit by the starting power of the last dwarf you played. Definitely crap. There's like no good high power dwarf for you to play, so unless you picked up like a bunch of Markham guards or something, then you'd be a 19 gold. Siri Dash, whenever this unit enters the graveyard, return it to your deck and strengthen it by 3. Oof. She's not going to be the greatest, but she's not going to be half bad, I don't think. Oh no, enters the graveyard now, so no discarding counts. If you get a couple discard cards, you might want to pick her up if there's nothing better, because she could end up netting you a decent amount of value. I mean, lock units, like the only thing that's going to shut that down, then she's 11 power gold, but that's risk and reward. Boost 3 units in your deck by 2, Dandelion. 17 power, you don't have a way to filter them out or guaranteed to filter them out, so he's as risky as Siri, where you could end up with just 11 power gold since you never see the units that he boosted. Vader, reveal 2 your cards and reveal 2 your opponents. Definitely crap unless somehow you got a bunch of Mogganels or something to make value of his effect. Or Vandal Elites, like if you were forced to draft a couple Vandal Elites, he might be alright. Not even that great. Vabjorn. Deal 2 damage to enemy. If it was already damaged, destroy it instead. Wow, all these 11 powers are like really risky cards. No. Eskel's better. And only draft him if you have no better choice. Like, I'd draft him over Vader. That's about it. Then we got Saskia. Swap 2 cards with 2 bronze cards. Swap's great. You get to take 2 crap cards from your hand and maybe get something really good. So Sasuke is probably going to be really good just for efficiency. Sasuke, Saskia Dragonfire, bandage your hand and draw that many cards. Maybe. You wanna know what? Maybe in draft mode. There's a possibility of her being alright. Because you could end up with just dead cards in your hand near the end and then get rid of those and draw new cards. Definitely wouldn't draft her over like anything that has halfway good value. But I don't know, she might be alright. In certain situations, especially if your draft is going really bad and you have like a bunch of dead cards, then maybe she can save your life. Sleeping Giant strengthen all Ogroid units by 1 wherever they are. Yeah, good. No, no Ogroids. You're not drafting a crap ton of Ogroids in the same deck, so crappy card. Zarthias, look at your opponent's deck and move a card to the bottom. In the earlier rounds, he might be alright because you can pull off that clutch thing of putting their only good card in the bottom of the deck. In the later rounds, they'll probably have efficiency, so he won't matter anyway because they'll search out whatever card you put in the bottom of the deck. Geralt, 15, no ability. He's alright. He's a 15. 15, 16 is just alright in draft mode. Hedgemer, spawn the Lord of Undavik on the opposite row. That's a really hard combo to pull off. And it nets you 21 power though, so if you have a crap ton of removal in your deck, yeah, this guy will be worth it. But besides that, no. And the last one, Olaf. Deal 10 damage to self, reduce the damage inflicted by 2 for each beast you played this match. And just like the other ones, like Ogroids and stuff, unless you drafted a crap ton of beasts, this guy's not worth it. Or a way to heal him. If you drafted like some, the guy who gives you 2 armor and heals a unit, he might be worth it. But outside of that, unless you have healing or a bunch of beasts, you shouldn't. He's gonna be a 10 power, and that's gonna suck. So that's it for this one. I'm gonna get working on the tier list and put them all there, and then put it in the description for you guys. And I'll do the silvers another time. Just want to get this one up there. Give you guys my pre-thoughts on the draft mode cards. So that's all for this one, guys. See you guys in the next one. Have a good one.